Hello YouTube, Loyal to Law once again, and this time this video is going to be about the breakdown of, I think, or should I say argue, that this is one of the most underrated, if not uncommon moves, or should I say move, when it comes to martial arts practice, or should I say self-defense usage, and that would be the stake punch. Now, the stake punch is actually just mimicking a stake. Now, for some of you who don't know what a stake is actually just like a spear. So imagine a long stick with a pointed end at one end, so in this case at this point, and then you're just going to put that spear or long pointed stick planted down on the ground. And it's used mostly on medieval plays. If you've watched some medieval movies, you'll be able to recognize them, that those long, or should I say huge, thick wooden pegs that are really huge, so they just cut off the end of the tree at the top and then just plant them and then sharpen them into huge pointed stakes. So that's what a stake is. Now, you're actually wondering how you can actually do a stake punch. Well, it's very simple. It's just like doing a straight, except that you're doing it in reverse. Now, let me explain. The straight punch, as we all know, as I do it from a side view here, is that you're in a bladed stance. See, I'm bladed, where my lead foot is in front, and I have my rear foot right here. Same with my hand position. And then this is my straight. Like so. Now a stake punch is actually doing the reverse of it. Because when you do a straight, it's normal to actually move forward to where your punch is going. So if you're actually going to do a straight, like so, it's more natural for you to move forward. So if I'm going to do it here in front of you, see, like so. But when it comes to doing a stake punch, it's really uncommon, and it's very, very unnatural unless you actually do a lot of repetitions so that you'll be able to get used to doing it. Because the motion is actually going to be like this. See? It's totally different from a straight, where if you want to move forward, very natural to do a straight. But if you're actually going to do a stake punch, see, it's kind of unnatural. The key in doing this is to actually remember that you're actually planting your rear foot to the ground. As I mentioned earlier about the definition of a stake, where you actually firmly plant that huge pointed stick down to the ground to be firm and to maintain its place. That's what you're actually doing with your leg. You're actually planting your rear leg, should be a rear leg, or your stepping leg behind you, very firmly, in order for you to actually do a punch like so, mimicking a stake. You can actually do a stake punch straight, where your arm is straight to the target while your foot is planted. Or you can actually do a small dip, like so. And your stance is a bit wider when you do so as well. Now, why would you do that? Why would you practice doing a stake punch? Well, typically, when you're actually doing martial arts movements, or when you're actually practicing and doing self-defense moves, you tend to move forward. And most of us, when we practice, we know how to move forward very, very efficiently. But when it comes to doing footwork, going backwards and sidewards, especially when it comes to evasion, we're not that really good, unless we really put the time and effort in order for us to actually get used to doing backward and sideward movements. And in this case, you're actually doing a backward movement because you're stepping back or you're taking steps back before you take a punch, or simultaneously attacking while you're evading. And so one of the keynotes that you have to know is, first of all, from your bladed position, if you're a righty, most likely your right leg will be your rear leg. So doing it in a side view here, in the bladed stance, your right leg, when you step back, should be firmly planted, as I said, when you do a punch. Now, if you're lefty, same goes with your left. Be sure that when you plant your foot for practice, your whole foot, from the heel up onto your toes, should be firmly planted, and that your hind leg or your rear leg is straight, if not with a little bend. The reason being is, if you're going to punch with a very bent leg, chances are you're actually going to lose balance and you're just going to be pushed back. So if I do it here, I try to do a stake punch without actually trying to straighten my leg, like so. You're actually going to be pushed back when your punch is being pushed by the target. So instead of actually hitting the target and the target goes far away from you, it's you who's actually bouncing back, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to actually let that happen. So your first practice is to actually let your rear leg be firmly planted on the ground, like so, and then you do the punch. Now, how would you know this? Simple. You find a wall. Let me fix the camera angle here. You find a wall or a pole or something that's actually going to give you very good resistance. And you do what most boxers would practice to actually fix their form when it comes to punching. So you put your hand with your palm, not with your fist, because it's much safer that way. And then you take a step back with your rear leg. And you'll notice a difference when you feel the pressure on your shoulder and you feel that your rear leg is firmly planted on the ground. You'll feel both pressure on your shoulder, on the palm of your hand, and the foot of your rear leg. And you'll notice that if you are actually doing this in front of a mirror, you'll see that your rear leg is straight. Notice that I'm not actually trying to move forward. I'm actually trying to step back. See? Doing it like this is totally different from actually trying to move yourself back. So this is one way to practice it. Like so. You can practice it again straight, maintaining the pressure on the palm of your hand, feeling the pressure also on the shoulder, and having your rear leg as straight as possible with your foot of your rear leg firmly planted and flat on the ground. Make sure also that your spine is natural, or should I say neutral. You don't want to really bend like this, because it's actually going to hurt your lower back. And it's actually going to make your upper back sore. Unless you're punching a bit higher, then you can actually have some sort of excuse to bend, providing that you're actually putting more pressure on your rear leg, since you're actually trying to plant your rear leg, like so. So in actuality, when you're actually going to do it, like that, like so. Now, why is the stake punch good? The stake punch is good because you're actually doing a punch out of the blue while you're actually stepping back or taking a few steps back away from your opponent. And it's a very good surprise tactic, especially when you're in a neutral stance. Neutral stance meaning that you're actually just standing normal 2 feet like this with your hands in front. And then if you're actually in a very heated argument that escalated quickly, God forbid that it happened. See? Again, like so. Heated argument, escalated quickly. There. Also, another note that you should actually take. As you step with your rear leg back, remember that it should almost be simultaneous. Your punch should not be the first to reach the target, because when you do, and then you have your rear leg be planted after, it'll actually either hurt your hand or hurt your rear leg. Make sure that your rear leg is planted first. If not, the same with the timing as with your punch. So you can either do this, or you can actually do those at the same time. So either here or at the same time. Because if you do this and then that, again, you're actually going to be pushed back because you're not actually firm on the ground. Your stance is not that firm, and you're going to be flying away instead of your target actually being pushed away by your punch. Another thing that's very good with the stake punch is that's not the only end-all be-all punch that you can do as a self-defense. So, back to that main example with the neutral stance. Because of the natural movement of you stepping back, and if you already know what the mechanics of doing a left hook. Left hook is actually punching with your left hand, obviously, hooking your opponent. But notice that my weight is mostly on my right leg, on my rear leg, and that my lead leg has a lifted heel. That means if I do a stake punch, I can naturally go to this combo. Do it again, like so. See? Slow motion, like so. Plus, it also gives you the option to actually totally evade from your opponent. So you're not just going to step backwards after doing a punch. Your punch might be just a distractionary technique to actually cover the face of your opponent, and then you can just run. So, confrontation, neutral stance, boom. Like so. So you're not just going to stand there with your punch left out. You're actually just doing it in an instant. And then hop to your right or hop to your left in order to evade. So, there you have it. That's the stake punch, and it's typically found in Chinese martial arts, but it's not very used often because, number one, it's unnatural to do, and number two, it's actually hard to remember since you're actually not very used to doing it, mainly because you're actually doing a punch while stepping back. And most of us actually are having a hard time doing that unless we actually give full dedication to practicing backward footsteps or backward evasion movements while doing some offense with your upper body. So, hope that you give this a try, and hope that this video has helped you even in the smallest way possible. God bless you all. Always train safe and take care.